Hello everybody, this is Minicoder coming back with another tutorial in the ASP.NET MVC series. I believe this is the third or the fourth in the series. I'm pretty sure it's the third. Um, if you remember correctly, last time we left off, and we will stay within this area right here, the view model controller view. We're not going to be touching the request data forward yet. We're just staying in this little area. Just to clear anything up, moving forward, we're going to call the the models that interact with the controller in the view. We're going to call those view models. I know some people aren't going to be thrilled with that because of the MVC pattern, but as I've mentioned before, I've seen a lot of mixture in design patterns. Unless you're a purist, which I am definitely not a purist, of MVVM and which is model view model. Was MVVM, so model view model or something like that, and MVC, which is model view controller. I find that this makes more sense because the model that's interacting with the view should be called the view model, not the model. And then the model or the entity model, I tend to call either the entity or the model. So, and that keeps them separated as far as in your head and the naming convention. So I am going to stick with that. We are going to stay in, like I said, in this area today. So if we go just to revamp really quick, we created an employee view model. We added 3 properties real quick to it. Then we created an employee controller by right-clicking on controllers and add a new controller. When we added that, it inherited right from controller automatically, made this index method, which we are saying we're going to call actions. Anything that returns an action result under a controller is called an action. And you'll want to remember that because when we start using Razor syntax, which I'll show in a minute, there's a whole bunch of methods that relate to actions. And then we right-clicked on this index and we did add view, which created under the employee folder, which was created when we did the controller, this nice little index.cshtml. Excuse me. And we just created a singular VM of employee VM, and then threw that into the view model. I have made a list now, so it's easier for us to see some of the Razor syntax in action, and I added 3 employees to the list. And then I'm passing that into the view method, which the view method returns a view result, and that view result is of type action result, so it can return that. And there are 7 overloads. The one we are using is an object. You can pass in of type object. So I know that was a little quick, but I want to keep things moving, and if you need a refresher on that, please feel free to go to the previous tutorial in the playlist. And that's what I'm going to be doing every time I create something. I'm making sure that it stays within the playlist that I'm dealing with. That way you can keep things in order, and you can always revert back to something else, and you can just click view all playlists in the YouTube channel, and it'll keep you all modularized. So today we're going to get a little more into the view. So this is your index.cshtml. Of course, also remember, because you're going to have a lot of index.cshtmls as you make new pages, you can always go to the index that you want the parallel view to, and do go to view, and there you are. So first of all, you'll notice this @ sign all over the place. The @ sign tells what's called the Razor engine to start looking for something. And what the Razor engine does is it takes C# code and it'll compile it down to HTML code. A good example of this real quick is in the layout. CSHTML is looking for some kind of really quick example. Is this @HTML action link. This creates that application name. Let me just start it up real quick. Right here, creates this. And what you'll notice is it gives you the string name, an option for the action, and the controller, which is home. And then there's this extra stuff here of the class name and an area, which we probably won't touch until the very end if we do it all of this series. And I will say that if I go into developer tools, which I hope you're familiar with already, click on the arrow and highlight this, we can see that it is an anchor tag. It is inheriting this class and is going to slash, which is the home index. If we wanted to just for giggles, we could go here, and you'd also see an anchor tag. It happens to not have the class, and it's going to home about. If we close this and we were to go here to this action link, you'll see it's about, and so the about is the string, this is the action, that's the controller. If you hover over this, you'll notice link text, action name, controller name. And there's a bunch of overloads for that to do other things. And you'll even notice that most of the time in the comments, it'll tell you what it's going to return. So it returns an anchor element or an A element for the specified link text, action, and controller. And I don't know if you noticed it at all, but the home/about is relative, so that's nice too. It's not an absolute path of any kind. So up here, you'll notice that this is pure C#. So this is 90% of this is for syntax. This is, and same thing with this. It's telling you that it's going to use the namespace employee directory.client.model just like you would in any other regular class. And then the app model tells it, hey, I'm looking for an IEnumerable employee view model. And obviously IEnumerable list inherits from IEnumerable, so that's why this will all work with the list. Alright, so now we have this add HTML. Off of the HTML, the HTML is the root of most of your Razor syntax, especially for beginners. You'll see you've got your action link here, you have anti-forgery stuff for forms, you have all the different HTML elements for forms here, checkbox for display. Let's see what's display. Display returns HTML markup for each property in the object that represents blah blah blah. Okay, so that retains HTML blah, blah, blah. So that's kind of like your div tag, I believe. You have display text. You have there should be a label for. There's a text area for. There's a text box for, which is what we're using right now. And then you have this link syntax. So if you haven't dealt with link before, I encourage you to look it up. It's very common, especially in the C# language. It's very prevalent in any link, any entity framework stuff. You use it a lot. You use it in MVC land a lot, and you do it with generic delegates. So I would definitely recommend getting into it. I will be going over it in my advanced class, but I haven't started that series yet. But when I do that series, please feel free to look back, subscribe so you know when it's coming. And I also will put it in an annotation to this series or this tutorial when it comes out. So you'll see I did a toList because it's an IEnumerable, so it's an interface, so you can't use it yet. You do a .toList, and then that'll make it a generic list. And then I'm doing sub-0 because I'm not looping through anything yet, and then I'm looking for the ID, name, and title. Now, for some reason, my Visual Studio is not staying with the IntelliSense on the CSHTML file, but you'll notice if I do dot, oh, now it's going to call me a liar. Okay. So there you'll see ID, name, and title, and you have your normal toString and all that good stuff. So you get all the syntactical sugar, which is very nice. So let's run this real quick, and we'll go into employee/index just like we did before. And there you go. You've got a text box, 3 text boxes with the ID, the name, and the software developer, which is the title. Alright, so now I'm going to take a little snippet here because we're almost at 10 minutes. I was going to type it out, but I did one already and it took 15 minutes, so I killed it and started a new one. Alright, so the other thing you can do with the @ is you can insert a bunch of C# text. Now, I wouldn't recommend writing a lot of C# text in here because the more it's going to have to compile down, the longer the page is going to take to load, and you're also going to start putting too much logic on the view itself, and really your view should just be handling view type stuff. Whether something shows or hides, that's fine. Looping through stuff, that's something you can't avoid. You'd have to do that in the JavaScript anyway. So it's definitely stuff you can't avoid. So in this case, you'll see that this model is showing IEnumable employee VM. Sorry. So this model is a keyword. So it's something I created, and it'll mimic whatever you did at the @ model syntax there. And then whatever's after that, that's what this will mimic. So if I had taken off employee there, you'll notice that this should throw. Well, sometimes it does not like to. Update right away. Let's do a build real quick here. If it doesn't work, you'll have to just take my word for it. Okay, yeah, you're going to have to take my word for it. It doesn't always update right away. It takes a little bit, and I don't feel like blowing it up and all that stuff just to make a point, because we're already at 11 minutes. So we have the @ squiggly, which tells Razor, hey, I want to do something. Then we're doing a loop through the IEnumerable to list. So each model, each one of these models is going to be an employee VM. Let's just do text box 4 because I was having trouble with the label. And then we tell it, okay, so you want to inject the model.id, name, and title. And then what's nice in the newer Razor syntaxes, which I had not known about, because it's been a few years since I really did the Razor side of things. Most of my stuff has been combining this and stuff like Angular and more JavaScript driven stuff. Is apparently now you can integrate HTML and C# inside those squigglies. You used to have to do some jury rigging to separate your C# and your HTML elements. So that's pretty nice. So I put a breakpoint right after that. So each loop around is going to add all of these for that particular model. Put a break, and that should be the end of it. So if we run this now, drum roll. There you go. So we have the ID, the name, and the title for all three. Very nice. And we can even do, let's see, yeah, we're not going to get fancy yet. I was going to say have labels, but let's not even go there yet, because I haven't tested and we're already at 13 minutes. So, let's see. So, just to recap, so we added an employee control into the employee controller, a list of employees, passed it back to the view. We added the view model, or a list of view models, to the view that we were going to pass in here. We added our using, and we've learned with Razor syntax how to add the HTML and loop through each element that we passed into the view. So, I'm not sure which part we're going to go over next time. I'm not sure if we're going to go into the entity stuff yet, or if there's more Razor syntactical stuff that I want to show you. We'll have to see how we go. Actually, let's do this just to show real quick, because we're at 14 minutes here. Let's say employee listing, and we will do index, and then this will be employee, like that. And then we should now have an item. We should end up in the home page, because that's the page we're on. And now we have employee listing here, and if I click on it, there you go. It brings you to the employee controller. It's just that easy. Alright, so you'll notice that it's pretty snappy. There's a lot of neat stuff to it. It is a little bit slower than using JavaScript and Angular, but you get a lot out of it. I think what we'll probably go over next time, because I think that's shown as a little bit of magic right now, is the route engine here. We'll go over that in a little bit. As you can see, there's not a lot to it, but it's worth going over. And then we'll dive into that, and then go into the entity side of things. Alrighty, so until then, have a great day. Today is 12/31/2016, so probably the next time, since it's almost 12 o'clock, it's 10:02. The next video I probably will put out there, well, not probably by the time this is uploaded, it will be 2017. So everybody have a great new year, stay safe, and I'll see you next time.